He was having a laugh.
He was having a laugh indeed. And City had a brilliant day out away from home, not too far from Manchester. Natum,
hello.
Let me come to you because you could not take your eyes off of this game. We were hosting the Supercup in Germany, and you could not take your eyes off, even though City were 4-0 up. But once again, a comfortable win for your boys.
The scoreline suggests that, yeah, but I think it's because of the way in which they sort of negated some of the strengths of Wolves, and they punished them whenever they could. And I think some of the new players, in terms of how they play today, from a City perspective as a fan, like, it's exciting. You got to see what Reinders was like in terms of his driving runs. You saw the link-up play. Someone like an Oscar Bob, who had to sit out the majority of last season with a broken leg, and you got that sort of freshness that's there, which is, I think, what some people would have been pining for from such a long time, from the middle third of last season when they were so poor. So I think overall, it's a really good day. Wolves obviously had that emotional connection with Diogo Jota in itself. And I think for City to be able to manage that on that opening day of the season where everybody has hope that they'll do well, I think it's a very strong performance.
And I think the other side of it is, you know, keeping a clean sheet away from home. You know, there was a lot of question marks on City last year and the goals they conceded. And, you know, we saw it yesterday with Liverpool at times where you thought, okay, can they be tight defensively? Is this a case where City now says, okay, not only can we score a bunch of goals, but we can also keep clean sheets as well again?
Yeah, for me as well, from the City perspective, because I think that's a really good point. When they really struggled last year, the goals that were conceded, some of them were ridiculous. You know, let's call it what it is. Because I think if a team has a nice bit of play, they have a chance and it's a good finish, at times you hold your hands up. But City weren't really offering that to Wolves today, which I think is a massive deal from their standpoint, because that's them going back to who they used to be, as opposed to the team which some people think they are today.
In terms of defensively, I think you saw how important a fit John Stones is. John Stones, listen, Reinders and Haaland were fantastic going forward. And Reinders, for me, was probably the man of the match, even though Haaland got two. But going on from the conversation you and I had, Natum, yesterday,
where you ruffled
some
feathers.
About defense.
You ruffled. Natum came up to work ruffled today, Stevie.
No, Stevie.
Well, what we saw today is a team that's capable of defending properly. And at the heart of that, in my opinion, was John Stones. Made a great challenge. There was a little period in the first half where Wolves were on top, and they had an opportunity, and Stones made a fantastic challenge. But overall, defensively, they looked really solid. I think I saw Aït-Nouri making a challenge as well.
Listen, this Aït-Nouri narrative about how he can't defend. Listen, I thought he defended really well in that game.
He did.
And I think when you compare that, for example, to making your debut against your former side, like for a Kirkes yesterday, you know, that's a different situation. Aït-Nouri, not only did he defend well, I think sometimes, you know, when we level these accusations about people who can't defend, it's because they don't want to. Today it looked like Aït-Nouri really wanted to, so you saw his physical strength, you saw his ability to sort of defend 1v1, and he was a huge asset on that side because he needed to be.
But that's the key, isn't it? He wanted to today. He's got to want to do it for the next 37 games. And he's not going to be playing against his old team, because everybody tries even harder against their old team. But as I said, going forward, they were...
A defender wanting to defend?
Gone are those days.
There are some around still.
There's still a couple out there.
And long may they stay around. I'm definitely of the old school of defending. But in terms of City's performance today, Stevie, we got to see a couple of the new signings doing good things as well. Which one impressed you the most?
Oh, Reinders. Reinders. I think what we saw from Reinders today is what separates him from other players in Europe. You know, the guy does he does some of the dirty stuff in the middle of the park, but the way he appears at the edge of the box or in the box for either finishing or the cutback for Haaland's goal. I mean, watching it reminded me of Gundogan when he was at his best. He had that little period where he was scoring loads of goals but still doing all the other stuff. I mean, if he can do what Gundogan was doing for, what, 3 or 4 years, what a signing.
And Natum, I said, I know you're a fan of Oscar Bob as well, and we saw some little link up there with Reinders. What did you think of him too overall?
Oscar Bob was brilliant, I thought, on that side.
Reinders as well.
Yeah, Oscar Bob and Reinders, the link-up play was really, really good. And I think even like from an attacking standpoint, Rico Lewis coming in there and the way that they gelled together, I think the understanding that they have felt as if they've been doing that for the longest time.
Agreed.
But as we said of Oscar Bob, he's been out for most of last season. He's trying to find fitness. You've got Reinders who's coming in, this is a new team, this is a new setup, first time playing against Wolves and so on. But they all knew what they were doing. And what I loved as well from Reinders, to go back to it, the cutback for Haaland for his goal, at no point as he looked, he just knows that's the right place to be. And the weight of pass was perfect. To the left-footed forward to go and smash it in. But yeah, to give credit to all the new signings, I need to also give credit to James Trafford. because I thought he did really well when he came on. When he started the game.
What's going on there? What's the situation there? Because, of course, we've heard the rumors of Ederson potentially going to Galatasaray, Trafford. You did say you have to give him a nod for doing well today, even though I don't think Wolves would have threatened him too much.
No. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Let's be honest, Natum. He wasn't going to be threatened too much.
You're better than that, because it's not necessarily about that, because you're playing against other professionals in the Premier League, and some of his decision-making is what I was impressed with, because I felt his presence.
He looked comfortable, didn't
he? Exactly. And when he needed to come out, there were a couple of times where, say, chances were ruled out for offside, but he rushed out quickly to deal with it. The ball at his feet felt comfortable, and he had a real calming presence. And the goal that Haaland scores, his second one, that starts with the ball at James Trafford's feet, and he plays the 30, 40-yard ball into space for Reinders to run into. It doesn't make the highlight, but it's an important part of
But
how
to
that
me,
goal comes
that's the bonus, is that pass. The rest of it is looking the part.
Yes, absolutely.
Not Stevie, Natum, two defenders. How did you feel when your goalkeeper gave you kind of like a secure feeling as opposed to, oh no, what's happening here? And this is a man that played with Grobbelaar forever. Yeah. So, I mean, so there's a point when you say, hey, okay, you did, as a goalkeeper, I enjoyed when I could say, I don't think there was a minute I did something wrong. That it looked like everything was clean. I made the right decisions when I needed to. I came out, I got this, I passed the ball well here. Yeah, okay, I didn't have to make a big save, but I think every goalkeeper loves the games when you say, my team did well, I helped organize, and every decision was right.
Yes.
If you want to make a comparison, think of Kushinov, when he made his debut for City last year. And then you think of what Trafford did today. I mean, chalk and cheese.
Think about this from the Trafford perspective. Last season, he's playing in the Championship. This season, he's playing for a side that's trying to win the Premier League. And on day one, he looks like he's been there for years. That shows how much potential he has.
So with that said, back to the goalie situation. Now, how do you think this is going to play out? Is he going to be, could he be the choice?
Listen, if you want to know about stuff like this, you need to speak to the ESPN journalist, because I do not have a clue.
What would you like to see then, Natum? Because you are close to City, so I'm sure you've heard some whispers.
Can't not play next year.
Yeah, Trafford for me, like, I think Guardiola said before the game that Ederson is still his number one. But with the bid coming in from Galatasaray, you'd think that Ederson might be going there. And while the goalkeepers that are there now are in play, I think Trafford is going to be the number one. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple of years' time, Trafford's like England's number one. That's how high people have him. So if Donnarumma comes in, it definitely muddies the waters a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's purely because Trafford, is good enough to play.
If Donnarumma comes in, Donnarumma's playing. They've then made a decision that said, maybe this kid's not ready. Maybe we have an opportunity to get one of the best goalkeepers in the world right now when we exit one of the best goalkeepers in the world right now. Now, if they don't do that because they're very happy, then that will say a lot about Trafford. So,
well, I want to just stick a pin and talk about some famous number 4s at Manchester City. We know that Reinders, of course, is donning that number right now, but it wasn't too long ago that another great man donned that number. And we have to go way back, and I mean way, way back. I mean, like, even before Vincent Kompany.
Couple of legends on there, right?
Like, you have to go back to when City had the ancient crest.
Couple of legends on there, Alexis, Yeah, to be honest, so I had the number 4. I took it from Richard Dunn, who was a club icon. I felt really proud in taking that from him. And then I was sort of elbowed out the door a bit at City. And when I was on loan, Vincent Kompany asked me if he could take the number. I said, yeah, sure, take it. Fast forward 10 years, he's got a statue outside the stadium. So I said, my legacy is the biggest. But then in fairness, like, Calvin Phillips came in. It's not quite worked out for him, but based on what I've seen so far this summer, I think Tijani Reinders will do it justice.
It's a good start.
Yeah,
it's a good start for the number 4.
He'll be fine.
Have you spoken to him yet?
Reinders.
Or when you go back to the UK, are you going to have a chat with him and be like, listen, young man, this shirt, this number carries weight?
Listen, I don't know who you think I am, but I'm never allowed on the complex. I don't know what is going on here.
I see you doing City TV all the time.
Yeah, that's from outside. That's from outside. That's a different conversation.
Your own sister works at Manchester.
That's what I mean. That's a different
You're
conversation.
literally VIP.
Listen, if you see me talking to any of those people, just know it's AI. Listen.
So you still up in the cars? Roll the
window down. Tijani.
Roll the window down.
Thank you,
Is that a Panini card?
Not a Panini card. Oh, please go take a selfie. And they just added one more. Just looking at the stats there, once again, it was a relatively comfortable game there for Bayern Munich and for Vincent Kompany.
I wouldn't necessarily say it was comfortable.
How can Neuer be man of the match?
Yeah, I
if it's
wouldn't say it was comfortable.
Well, Alexis.
I wouldn't say it was
He had
comfortable.
really good saves,
I
but
wouldn't
let's
say it
be
was
honest,
comfortable.
guys.
It wasn't
Yeah,
comfortable.
but forget that.
But forget those, you know.
those.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
then they win 3-2.
Outside of
But
those,
other than
yeah.
that, it would have been comfortable.
I think they did enough. I think they did enough, especially given the fact that, say, their
Just enough, so
pre-season.
you're saying they scraped?
No, it definitely wasn't a scrape. But I think the fact that they've had a disrupted pre-season, Stuttgart are very much ready for this game. They knew this game was coming.
At home.
They're playing at home
Yep.
in a Super Cup against the Bayern side, who we know this will not be the best version of them throughout the next few weeks. So yeah, Bayern did enough. You could see how many players were down with cramp and so on as the game was progressing from Bayern. So they did enough, and it was a chance to see how they were going to try and play this season. And I think we saw from very early doors, Voldemar is such a big talent for Stuttgart.
Yep.
Vincent Kompany said, Upamecano, follow him everywhere.
And form has kind of gone in and out for the high standard that he has set over the years. And I think he's kind of maybe had a little bit of a refocus. They've signed multiple goalkeepers. I mean, Nubel, who was injured, who should have been playing for Stuttgart, is a Bayern goalkeeper that they bought years ago and have kind of had him on loan, kind of waiting for that opportunity to see if Neuer is going to give up his position, and he keeps fighting for it. There's been conversations about splitting time with a new goalkeeper coming in, and Neuer's like, no, I'm not having any of it. And the best way to quiet all that conversation is to play well, is to come on the pitch, refocus yourself, and be the difference maker that we've all known him to be throughout his whole career. And that was a prime example of a Bayern Munich performance where you're not going to be making 10 saves because your team's too good to be making 10 saves. But can you make important saves in each half at important times? And he did that. I mean, it was 1-0. He comes up with the fantastic save. 1-1 is a completely different match. Minutes later, back down the pitch, 2-0. That is where Manuel Neuer, in-form, focused Manuel Neuer can be super important for this Bayern Munich side. Maybe not in the league, because I think they're going to be so strong it won't matter. But if they want a challenge in Europe, he'll be incredibly important for that.
Well, the other half of our Super Cup team, Archie Reinsoot and Thomas Hitzelsberger, they were out in Stuttgart, and they managed to catch up with Harry Kane after the game.
Alexis, thank you very much. Harry, another trophy, another game. How was it for you?
It was a tough game. Obviously, coming early in the season, such an important game for us. Yeah, it's difficult. You know, we've had a few weeks pre-season and we're right back into it. So, credit to the boys. You know, the way we played today, I thought was really, really good. Could have scored a few more goals to make it a little bit easier on ourselves, but overall, we can be really pleased with the win.
That goal seemed to rely on instinct. It's not one I guess you practice a lot on the training ground. How did it feel?
Yeah, I kind of made a run, and as the ball was in the air, I kind of knew I weren't going to...
Having observed the team before the game and now celebrating, it seems a bit different because I've seen Bayern Munich teams before. They won the DFB Pokal, the Bundesliga, but the celebration today was kind of even more than I expected. What has changed beginning of the season?
Yeah, I think that's just the mentality of our team, you know. Sometimes when you're at a big club like Bayern Munich, you take winning for granted. When you do it as many times as they have, you know, it becomes normal. But, you know, the coach is big on celebrating every trophy like it's your first, because that's the mentality we need, that's the desire we need, that's the passion we need. And that's what you're seeing in the group. You know, it doesn't matter who it is or who steps up in the big moment. We count on each other and then we celebrate, and it's going to be a good night tonight.
What's heavier then, the Bundesliga trophy or the Super Cup?
The Bundesliga trophy. Yeah. But now it's nice. I got like a shield, I got a trophy that looks like a trophy, and yeah, I'm enjoying it. He's one of the greatest goalkeepers ever, and we're happy to have him.
And this season, no Thomas Müller. That dressing room must be a lot more quiet for a start.
Yeah, look, it's a big change. You know, whenever a big icon of the club leaves, you always have to adapt a little bit, and yeah, that's what we've had to do. You know, we know how good Thomas was and how much he meant to the team, but like we keep saying, it's on to the next one. We focus on the next challenge, and that starts again on Friday.
It is. RB Leipzig. We'll be there for it. You will too, Harry. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Back to you, Alexis.
Thanks, guys. Well, if you notice who was just walking just behind Harry Kane, is the other goal scorer today, and that's one of your exes, Stevie, Luis Diaz, opening his campaign perfectly for Bayern Munich.
It's getting better for Bayern, and it's certainly huge for Luis Diaz personally.
You don't miss him?
I wouldn't say that. I would still like to have him, but unfortunately, as Harry Kane said, you've got to move on.
Yeah.
And that's what Liverpool are doing.
And I mean, if he had been sold for 20 million, you maybe say, is that really good business for Liverpool? But to get that kind of number And then they've been able to kind of make some changes as well. And Bayern, for whatever reason, this is our guy, and we're going to spend what it is. And I think, and not only did he score the goal, but I thought he was very good throughout the match as well. Put some great balls in the box. Also, when the ball came out, he was able to make a move, switch play, and you can really see that he kind of transitioned very well into that side.
He's one of those guys that it doesn't always come off for him, but when he gets it, it lifts everybody, particularly the crowd, which is huge as well. And it lifts his teammates. So when you've got a guy like that, a bit like Thomas Müller, he's a guy that would affect the fans and affect the team around him. And that's what Luis Diaz does, the way he plays the game.
Stevie, you having fun in that chair? I noticed you've been swinging
Do you know,
around.
I'm used to sitting over there with Nedum is, and I'm
Yeah, I can tell you're a little uncomfortable.
kind of.
He wants to talk to the person on his right, and there's nobody there.
There's nobody on your right.
I don't want to look too comfortable, you know what I mean?
This is a comfortable show, though. We're in the new studio.
All right,
the
I'll stay like
fancy
this
studio.
then. I'll just lock this down.
That they won at home against a side that they should beat at home. Keep a clean sheet as well. New manager once again, and you'd want to start the season off right. The last thing you want to do as a new manager, slip up against a newly promoted side, have the fans kind of start to question, start the season poorly. Now, there's still a lot of work to be done at Tottenham, but to be able to at least start it the right way has to be a big bonus.
And after what happened against PSG, even though we can pardon them for that, it was PSG. This is, Nedum, exactly what Thomas Frank would have wanted.
Yeah, of course. Your first game in front of your home fans, and the game against Burnley, it's a tricky one because people expect you to win.
Correct.
Yeah.
So they'll be
And
looking at other
comfortably.
things- and comfortably. So
Yeah.
they'll be looking at other things.
And they won comfortably, right?
Correct.
Well, yeah, I guess so. In the end, they did. But I think the finishes, the joy, the feeling, the new players, like the manager on the sideline, like they want to have a sense of hope. I think that's the importance at the start of the season. If you start on the back foot, the team's not playing well, you lose your first game against a newly promoted side.
At home.
At home.
At home, yeah.
Then it feels like last season, but this will feel fresh to them, and all the belief will be there.
Stevie, what stood out from you from this Thomas Frank Tottenham?
Well, what stood out was the fact that we didn't have full-backs standing in the opposition penalty box. We didn't have centre-backs dribbling 5 and 6 people, and there was a shape defensively when they lost the ball. You know, under Ange, it was exciting to watch, but when they lost the ball and turned it over, there was holes.
Maybe exciting as a neutral, Stevie.
Well,
maybe not exciting
Not as a member of defenders.
Well, exactly. I mean, today you had Verval and Gray and Sarr, who really didn't move anywhere other than middle of the field. And so when the ball was turned over, they were able to close the ball down. Now, it's really difficult to get too carried away because of the opposition.
Yeah.
Burnley are clearly... The only thing that Burnley are striving for is to be fourth bottom. And that's just the truth. But at the end of the day, you can only do what you do. And if Richarlison keeps scoring goals like that, if Kudos keeps taking on defenders, I mean, the crowd were loving it. He was megging people, he was flicking it around. I mean, he was doing all kinds. Then you've got Johnston scoring his goal. You've got your middle three don't go anywhere. And then your back four are solid. I mean, the two centre-backs must have loved this today. All of a sudden, they had somebody there to help them. It wasn't 1v1 all the time. I mean,
1v1 from midfield.
Yeah, a defender's dream. But that was, for me, that was the biggest thing. The shape when they lost the ball was 100 times better, I'm afraid.
Can we just
than it was under
have a
Ange.
little petition to change Kudos' name to Kudos, as Stevie just called it?
Well, it wouldn't be right if I got the name right, would it?
Well, it was Kudos to Kudos. That could be a segment. That could be a segment.
Yeah, there
But
you go.
a much-needed area for Thomas Frank to address at Spurs, and has he gotten it right?
Well, we can say he's gotten it right today.
Yeah.
You know, certain elements of the game against PSG probably weren't great, especially in the terms of the amount of possession that they had and how they sort of brought pressure on themselves from the PSG standpoint.
Yeah.
But today feels much better, and I think the concern going into the match, from as I saw it, was say Archie Gray's starting the game. We've not really seen that much when everyone's been available, because you brought in Palhinha, you brought him over from Bayern Munich. So how come he's not in that position? And that midfield then with him, with Bergvall, with Sarr, that's a really young midfield. And today's a day for them to play and for them to do well. But I wonder what it's going to be like in the next games to come. But as far as like a good start goes, it's great. And as Stevie said, the players probably understand it and can buy into it a little bit more. I think to go back to when Ange first came to Spurs, because they were successful, people were buying into it, even though it felt different. But then as soon as it's not going well and he sticks to the principle, you kind of want change. And I think maybe at the times the players didn't believe in it, but this feels far easier to understand.
It's kind of a strange... You're excited. You know, when Ange came in and the way he had them playing, as a player, it's exciting. It's like, that's like being a kid again, running all over the place and standing in the penalty box as if you're the centre forward. But to go from that to what they're doing now is also exciting, particularly for the defensive side of the game, because now you always feel as though you're in a game. You always feel as though you're going to be solid. Nobody's going to beat us, and if they do, they're going to have to be at their best. I mean, either way is exciting as a player.
Talking about the other side of the pitch now and the more attacking roles there, the latest rumours and news that we're hearing in terms of transfers is that your good mate, Eberechi Eze, is probably
so
closer.
So many mates on the show, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you're native manure, right? Friends in high
just
places
just a little
everywhere.
bit younger, that's all it is.
Just a little bit, yeah, you are a bit younger. No offense to everyone else. But Eberechi Eze, we've been talking about this now. It seems like Spurs is likely to be the destination over an Arsenal now, Nadum. After what you've seen from Spurs, what do you think of that?
I'm not 100% sure. And when we say over Arsenal, does that mean that both offers are on the table and he's choosing Spurs? Or does it mean Spurs have managed to get their way in with Crystal Palace?
They got the first offer in, maybe.
Yes.
And we're able to,
for me personally, I think he's capable of playing for Arsenal, a team that's going to be, you know, in the Champions League year in, year out, and potentially going for a league title. I'd prefer to see him there personally. But it's not to say that the opportunity at Spurs isn't, in some ways, a bigger and better one than being at Crystal Palace. You know, seeing a Crystal Palace side that haven't invested heavily in their squad. You know, they're going to be playing in the Conference League this year, which is great. But then to put it into context, that cup win last year was like, we can joke around, most people joke around the fact that Spurs didn't win anything for 14, 15 years, however long it was. But for Palace, that's a whole entirety of their existence as a football club. So the step to Spurs is a significant one. And I hope if he does go there and he plays the Champions League, he can do well. But I think he'd be more suited to an Arsenal style, personally, with a manager in Arteta who'd probably be able to see more attacking outputs from him.
Stevie, when we did Community Shield, you were the one that was saying, just imagine if Eberechi Eze gets to play on a team like an Arsenal or even a Spurs, where, you know, he could just be in amongst the style that you think he will thrive in. If it does end up being Spurs over Arsenal, would it still be a good fit? Will it still be as big of a jump as Nadum saying?
Yeah, it's a step up. You know, I think the best players and the most ambitious players want to play in the best teams, and they want to play in the teams that are going to win the biggest trophies. And unfortunately, Spurs are a good side, but they're really not going to be going for the biggest. They ain't going for the Premier League or the Champions League. Whereas Arsenal are in a position where they can go for both of those things. And not only just in terms of playing for a better team, but pushing yourself, testing yourself. Because when you've got the ability he has, the only way you really get complete recognition is by doing it at the very top. You know, if he goes to Spurs and does really well and Spurs don't win another trophy, it'll be, yeah, I mean, he was really, really good, but, you know, he didn't win a Premier League or a Champions. So, from that point of view, I would love to see him at Arsenal. From a Liverpool point of view, I'd love to see him at Spurs.
Casey, would you love to see him at Spurs?
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what I just want to see from Spurs is a situation where they're bringing players in, they're keeping players that then are successful for Tottenham as they start to move into being the more competitive side that we've seen, you know, probably, was that 5-6 years ago, where they were challenging for the Premier League title, they were challenging, you know, in a Champions League final, not looking over your shoulder a little bit over relegation, and get some stability in the side.
Yep.
You know, get some stability in manager, get some stability in squad, and then be competitive at the top of the table. And I think that's where I think Daniel Levy's big next challenge is to not think, okay, we can have the 8th or 9th highest payroll, and if we just change a manager every 18 months, that will make the difference.
Yep. For me, I think this is a really interesting time for him because he's 27 years of age.
Yeah.
I think whoever signs him now will get the best years of his career because this is somebody that's about to go to that next level with a different tier of coaching, with a bundle of experience behind it and a taste for success. So I think if he does manage to go to an Arsenal, I think what it stands for is, like, I see him somebody who's capable of handling the pressure of trying to win a league title. You know, because for Arsenal every year in these last few years, they don't arrive into pre-season and say, we're going to try and do as well as we can. They know that they're good enough to win a league title. And I think bringing him someone like that, who has that drive, has that desire, but has the quality and understanding of the league, who is also somebody that can elevate himself to whatever level. Because when he went to Palace, he'd been playing for QPR in the Championship. He made that jump and he's an England international. I think he can go again. And then, yeah, like I say, I don't necessarily want him to win a league title, but I think he's very capable of doing that.
Say that a little louder. Let him hear it.
Wherever you are, I don't want you to win a league title, so I just want you to try really hard.
Come on, that's not a good friend there. All right, well, elsewhere in the Premier League, Aston Villa hosted Newcastle. Newcastle, we know, have been embroiled in that transfer saga that involves Alexander Isak. They played out a 0-0 draw, and of course, Alexander Isak had no part to play in this game, Stevie, which probably is why Newcastle ended up drawing this one. This is definitely not what Eddie Howe would want.
No, I mean, if ever you saw a performance that had "we need a centre forward" written over it, this was it. You know, the front three they had between the three of them last season couldn't match the output of Isak on his own, and it showed. And for the first part of the first half, Newcastle were totally dominant in this game, but they never looked like scoring. They had one opportunity in the whole game. Elanga was through on the goalkeeper. And the goalie made a save, and it's a good save, but he shouldn't have had a chance to save it. After that, nothing. Absolutely nothing. And in the second half, they petered out a little bit. As did Aston Villa, by the way. I mean, I thought this would be a good game, but it was so underwhelming. Neither side going forward looked capable of scoring a goal. And so it really wasn't a surprise it was 0-0. So these two sides I thought would be, certainly I thought Villa would be kicking to get in the top six. And I thought maybe Newcastle, before the whole Isak thing, I thought they'd be kicking Chelsea's heels to get maybe near the top four. Now, the two of them, if they play the way they did today, the two of them, they've got no chance of getting anywhere near the top six, never mind any of them in the top four.
Well, look, after the game, Eddie Howe spoke, and he was trying to speak up Anthony Gordon and spoke about his skill set as well. But once again, Nadem, what he didn't want is the fact that we are now still talking about Alexander Isak and how this could possibly affect Newcastle going forward in the worst way.
Absolutely. Like, if they would have won this game and say Elanga takes that chance, it's a different conversation, so we don't need to focus on him at all. But any team that doesn't score a goal where one of the top strikers in the league is now unavailable, you're going to have to field those questions. And it's tough for him. You can try and say, oh, this guy did well, that guy did well. There's still something that's missing, as Stevie said. And I think when we talk about Newcastle United, we're used to seeing a number 9 do particularly well for them across all those Premier League years and years beyond. So these next 2 weeks are going to be huge. I think, as you've mentioned there about Villa and about Newcastle, if they're in this current state, then yes, then maybe they won't be in the top 6. But I can't help but feel that change is coming. And for Eddie Howe himself, he'll want that saga to be finished, because when the Isak side is done, there's probably going to be change on the other side of somebody coming in as well.
Yeah, it has to. Yeah, that's a good point.
If it doesn't, then they're scuppered. They've got the Champions League as well, Newcastle. Yep. And I mean, you look at the bench, there's nothing on the bench going forward. So Champions League, Premier League, forget it.
Well, if you feel like this conversation's missing something, that's because the big guns of the Premier League have yet to play. But guess what? You're in luck. They are in action tomorrow, this Sunday. Arsenal
Chelsea
up against Manchester United. And we asked everybody, how do we see this one going? Casey, you went for the 1-1 draw. I have a draw as well.
Yep. No, I think Manchester United could not be as bad as they were last year.
Casey, I've been saying that for many seasons.
I know that, but you're going to say, but at home, opening match, at least get something out of it. Give yourself something against an Arsenal side that, you know, there has been a lot of expectation over the last couple of years. Is can they just add those couple pieces that give them the opportunity to win the title? And I think if they go there and comfortably beat Manchester United, then I think they will take up where you know, Liverpool got the result and Man City got the result. But we'll also see in this opening match, has Manchester United improved enough, not to necessarily finish in the top 6, but at least to give themselves something that the fan base can say, okay, we're taking steps forward.
Well, Nadem and I have been beefing all day about Manchester United and Manchester City, which will come as no surprise to any of you. But Nadem, you said that you cannot wait to text me at full time of this game because you're going with a strong Arsenal win.
Listen, it's a good intro to what I think, but I want to know why you, as a Manchester United supporter, have not got them down as winning.
Because based on what I saw from last season, you told me back your team, and a draw with Arsenal
you
is
backing
me
your
backing
team.
Manchester United.
Okay,
Based on
so-
what we saw at Nedum, let's be
Okay, so
honest.
it's going to be very tough for me to back a team that's not my team.
I might be a passionate supporter, but I'm not that Delulu.
I think the only, well, not the only thing, something that plays into United's favour going into this game is the fact that Arsenal don't have a good record there, no matter what situation United have been across these last few years. So that's a positive. But to be playing it so early as well, you maybe say that's a positive. But I think Arsenal are a good enough side to understand the challenges that are going to be ahead. And the energy at United is going to be so, so high. And I think Arsenal are going to win. But I only said 3-1 because you'd been winding me up all day. I thought it was going to be 1-0 or something, but now I want 3.
You told me destroy is what you wanted to see.
I may or may not have said that, but if I didn't say it on air, then technically you can't hold me to it. But yeah.
All right. Well, I threatened to block him, so we'll see if I end up blocking him. Stevie, what about you?
Listen, it's not a new thing, somebody beating Manchester United at Old Trafford. And if you look at it rationally, the United are playing a side who are really strong at the back, really organised in the middle with talent going forward, and a forward line now that can hurt you, particularly Saka and Gyökeres. So you've got from back, middle to front, a team that you pretty much know exactly what you're going to get from them, against a team in United who we have no idea.
Yeah.
Defensively, they're questionable. They've no legs in the middle of the park. Have they signed some forwards? Yeah, but on paper, playing for Man United at Old Trafford is a different ball game than playing for other teams. So I don't see how anybody can go for a Man United one.
I went for a draw. I'm just saying.
You know, we also got done talking about Manuel Neuer, and it's not as if the goalkeeping situation at Manchester United leaves you with saying, oh, it's a stabilizing factor. Gonna make
we always start the next season believing we'll be better.
Well, I hope
Believing will be better.
Okay.
Believing will be better. Doesn't always work out that way. I never won that Ballon d'Or, but one day I'll get better.
One day you'll get better.
Yes.
All right, well, we'll see, and we'll be talking exactly about that game between Manchester United and Arsenal on ESPN FC tomorrow. No, Nedum, I'm not hosting the show tomorrow, and I will be blocking you all day, but make sure to tune in to catch the guys. All right, welcome in to Extra Time. Oh, what a crew, what a set. Nedum, why are you looking at me like that?
I'm just waiting to see what you're going to say next.
I'm just going to read the questions.
Please.
It's been a fun day. Are you going to tell everyone how you got hangry and threatened our producers?
Listen, it's been a fun day. City won 4-0. My job is easier on
You
the
were
show.
slightly rattled, though.
No. That'll be you watching United tomorrow.
That would be me. Oh, I don't know. Shall we get in, right? Stevie Nichol's personal assistant. Let's all overreact together. Oh, I love me an overreaction. City are back, and Lamine Yamal will win the 2026 Ballon d'Or.
Well, the second one's probably going to be right.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's not really an overreaction. We're on course.
No, City are somewhat back. They've shown that not only can they go forward, but they can defend as well. So, in some way, they're back. Not all the way back, but certainly taking a step in the right direction.
Nedum, are they back?
They're much better. But let's just focus on Lamine Yamal, because the football side of things, it's the first game, whatever. But this is 2 years of Lamine Yamal doing the craziest things.
Yeah.
At 18 years of age.
I know we didn't get to talk about it. You wanted to touch on his goal today.
Yeah, so there's some players you play against where, you know, you do the best that you can, you try and sense when they're going to cross it, when they're going to shoot and so on. But for his goal today, there were 3 defenders that were adamant they were going to stop him. They were adamant. They had to bet their life that they're going to stop him. But he still ended up with a free shot on the edge of the box on his left foot. So it should feel obvious, but the way he manipulates the ball, the sort of fake, and then the finish at the end, he knows once he's inside, it's cash. That's one of the best players in the world and will be for the next decade.
If he stays fit, I don't think there's any question that he has a tremendous opportunity to be a generational player, you know.
Yeah, and to add to that as well, which they said in the broadcast, they said he was just arguing one of the
they got a little pushing her. He pushed him,
and he gets angry.
I've been thinking this 18-year-old, like, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And then Eric Garcia was like, that's when you know he's going to score.
Yeah.
That is wild. That's a proper talent.
You can't defend against them.
Yeah.
Because you have to get tight. You don't have a choice. Because if you don't get tight, he's either still going to pick out the top corner or he's going to pick out somebody else. So you actually have no choice but to actually get tight. But his feet are so quick and he's so good running with the ball at his feet that unless you actually catch him or get the ball, you're out of the game, you're done.
Right. Absolutely. The one thing I like seeing about it too is that he's an unselfish player, where you try to then say, okay, let's bring the midfielder back. kind of double team him, which then will leave openings that he'll find as well. So, okay, he'll take either both of them on and beat them and score, or he'll take both of them on, draw a third over, and then just bring an open player into play as well. And I think, again, if ego stays in touch, health stays in the right direction, sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit indeed. So I don't think that one was an overreaction of Lamine Yamal. I think it may be one of what could be many Ballon d'Ors. We could see the young man win. James Handel now is asking, Amorim is now having players arrive. Oh, actually, I did skip one. Oh, sorry, this one's for Nadem. That's why I skipped it. Nadem, do you think...
Look at this. No, carry on.
Nadem from Mr. Church wants to know, do you think Cherki will end up replacing Foden?
Replace him long term?
Yes.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think there's more of a way that those two can play together than it be one or the other. Because Phil Foden, in terms of how well he's done for City till this point, but also what he stands for in terms of the history of the football club as an academy graduate, there's no shot that's what's going to happen. There's no way. I promise you that. Clip this up. There's no way it's going to happen. No way. There's no way it's going to happen. No way.
But I think one thing that will look like from today, with Grealish out and Bob fit, Bob, I think, has a chance to really establish himself from what I saw today.
Bob, then?
Bob what? Bob's your uncle. What? What Bob are you talking about?
It was for Nadem, Stevie, but what do you think of the whole Phil Foden thing?
Yeah, Foden's
No shot.
Foden's still ahead of everybody else if he's fit.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
All right, there you have it. Next question now, because it has to do with Ruben Amorim. Amorim is now having players arrive 2 hours before kickoff instead of 4 hours under Ten Hag. What's the sweet spot to arrive to prepare? Your experience with different managers. Stevie?
Well, it's not 4 hours.
It's not 4 hours.
Too
It's
much?
definitely not 4 hours.
Gosh. You talk about dulling somebody's mind, having them lying around, sat in the spot in the dressing room like that, looking at the ceiling. Well, it's time to get changed and get out. I mean, it makes no sense to me whatsoever. In fact, 2 hours is probably about right, just in case there's traffic or there's something not quite right. But personally, I prefer an hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
That was normally what an away trip you did. You try to get there about an hour and a half. A home is a little bit different, like you said, particularly if you're maybe driving yourself, if you're not like at the hotel or training site or something like that before you come in, just to give yourself a little bit of a cushion, like Stevie said. But yeah, the last thing you want to do is and also I think with home, it's like, if I want to drive myself there and get myself there 2 hours early, and if Stevie wants to get there an hour and a half early, then it goes down to the comfort of the player. And I think that's what's happening now, even with team meals. Yep. There's a your pre-match meal, there's a window. Go in when you want your pre-match meal. So I think that, but to be there for 4 hours, oh my Lord, what are you going to do for 4 hours?
Did you have any managers that were too much on either way?
So with Mark Hughes, when he was at Man City, we used to have to get to the stadium to have the pre-match meal. And then we'd stay there for the whole time, so that's 3.5 hours. And it's very specific, it wasn't like a window. And that did feel quite early because, as Stevie said, like, it's the waiting around. Like, one of the downsides of traveling, and this isn't necessarily for playing in the USA because it's a very different situation, but for away games elsewhere, you just spend so much time just waiting around. You don't know what to do with yourself. So that's when some of the more immature people, their minds start to wander and put themselves
But never
in
you.
Would never be me.
Never you.
Would never be me.
You know, one of the
Stevie,
things,
yes, though.
One of the things that irritated me the most was when they made us go for a walk.
Oh, the walk at the hotel. Oh my gosh.
I used to drive me insane.
It's the worst. Alexis, do you know about this?
The hotel walks? No. But I have seen
just
it
to
a few
get you
times.
out and moving. And one thing I liked about when I went to Rio with Juan de Ramos was there was that idea of, if you want to go for a walk, go for a walk. If you want to lie in bed, the judgment is you should be professional enough to know what you need for the match. I'm going to judge you on your performance. I'm not going to. Well, now, Stevie, now there's like all kinds of like, they're going to get a conference room at the hotel because now you're going to do activation with bands and all kinds of, and you're like going, I'm watching guys now and I'm going, you've played a match before you've actually started the match. Because you've had this walk and this activation, and then you're doing all these runs and you're doing all this stuff. And you're like,
at least with activation, you could argue there's some level of science behind it. But the walk, like we'd be having a pre-match meal at like 11:30 for a 3 o'clock game. At 11:15, it says, right, let's meet in the lobby. Let's go for a walk.
Just
You
a
walk
brisk
around
walk?
the car park and then walk back inside and go and get your food.
But are these in like luxury hotels that have their own garden?
It makes
If
no
it's a nice
difference.
garden, it's fine. I love a
Makes
garden
no
walk.
difference.
I had one coach on the walk, right? So the hotel would be in the city, and we'd be rocking around the city, right? And there's all kinds of homeless people lying all over the
that was
place.
Portland with the Sounders.
Oh,
We'd be walking around Portland getting accosted by the homeless.
Well, not only that, he made us stop and have a stretch.
Oh, yeah,
So you go,
likewise, yeah.
so like, we're walking in the middle of the city, and you're looking for somewhere to put your leg up so you can go like that.
Oh, he can get his leg up. It's
I was
not-
like, what are we doing here? On a stupid walk, and then he wants to stretch. What for?
So to get back to the original question, Amram saying 2 hours is probably better for vibes.
Is best.
Because I think the best one for me is when a manager says, this is what time we'll be having a meeting at the stadium.
Yes.
And you have to be there for the meeting. If you want to
Right.
turn up a day before, do that. You need to
Right.
make sure you're there for that time because that's the important time when everyone needs to be together.
Yep.
All right, so you just need to find that happy balance. Hope that answered your question there. We learned that Stevie can still kind of stretch as
Just
well.
did me hamstring.
You got out there quickly, Stevie.
Oh, too quick.
Oh
right?
my
Yeah.
days. Next question now from Manchester Drake. Despite bringing in a few big name players this summer like Mateus Cunha, Mbuemo, Shesko, Manchester United still have struggled to actually sell any notable players. How do you rate Man United's summer transfer business? Go on, Stevie, lay it out.
That's a tough one. Well, they clearly needed help going forward. So you can say they've addressed that. So, but you need a midfield, you need a back line,
A goalkeeper.
you need a goalkeeper. So,
and you need to get rid of certain players.
so you've actually taken a step forward. The problem is, it's not a big enough step forward.
I think
And it's and it's 3 players in one area. How about you got one up front, one in the middle, and one at the back, and then you get a gut for your team that's solid that you can build round and work with, instead of just going buying strikers who, if the midfield don't get them the ball, it doesn't matter how good they are at sticking the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, I think part of the answer is in the question that it really felt that they needed to get rid of not only players, but those players' wages
Yes.
and recoup some of the transfer fee that they paid for these players that didn't work out and able to bring in the numbers that they really felt they needed. But the players didn't do well enough to have other clubs wanting to come in and say, hey, let's not only absorb the high wages, but also have to pay for those high wages. And then the player going, wait a minute, if I'm only going to make half, I'm not going anywhere. Good luck with that.
So, benefit of the doubt, the window's not closed yet.
Yep.
True.
So,
But it's leaving it a little too late for certain players, do you think?
No, I don't think so. When you see the amount of business that's done in like even the final day or the final minutes of the final day, I think they've got other ambitions.
We've got any
And what
money.
that
They'll
does,
find it from somewhere. They
well,
tend to.
right, but and what that does as well is it gives a couple matches for teams to go, wait a minute, we need to fix something as well. So here, maybe we can get a little better bargain from Manchester United, and we think we can fill a void that we've seen in our side that is missing.
So what are we thinking, like a resounding C as a mark, as a grade?
I don't like to comment on Man United, I'm afraid.
Oh.
Leave that to the other two.
Why don't you? That's why we brought you in, though.
I don't do grading. You tell me. You're the United fan. Are you happy?
I think a C.
Okay, C is good for me.
I think you still have to deal with the Garnacho issue, what's going on there, Jadon Sancho, etc.
Yeah, C.
So I think a C.
C. C.
But
See?
C.
I think Stevie made the right point, though, is that you only fulfilled kind of one zone when you needed multiple zones.
But it was a zone
to
that was
fix.
desperately needed.
Because they weren't shifting goals in the back either. Yeah. Just
In case they were trying to, we're going in stages. Gosh, can't wait for the new season. Bring it on.
Yeah.
Anders wants to know, Stevie and Nadum, have you ever scored a goal where an opposing player or teammate was clearly injured in the penalty box?
Have I ever scored a goal?
Has Natum ever scored a goal,
Stevie, you
period?
take this one, please.
When what?
When an opposing player or one of your teammates was down injured in the penalty box, you just kind of,
Not that I remember. But it wouldn't make any difference.
you'd still go and score.
Of course you would, aye.
Yeah, I didn't really find myself in that area very often.
Yeah.
I didn't play that Spurs style when I played, so I tended to be more on the halfway line.
Score first and then worry about it later.
Oh, okay. Love that.
Absolutely, aye. No danger.
Yeah, I thought Flick was right when he said, look, we've all been taught to play until the whistle goes. We've heard that since we were kids. And yes, and if the referee blows it back, he blows it back. But you don't stop just because somebody's down.
That's on the referee, to be
Yeah.
honest. It's not on the players.
All right, next question. This one's for Natum. They're coming in for Natum today, man.
Let's go, let's go.
All right, Natum, what are the percentage chances that you give for Sunderland to stay up and West Ham to go down this season?
Ooh.
Percentages. You love your stats and numbers.
Sunderland staying up. Obviously, they beat West Ham today quite convincingly, but I think right now I'm still going to put them at maybe 25% chance, which is probably quite high for a newly promoted team. And then in terms of West Ham going down, I think low. I just don't think West Ham will go down. I think they've got enough resources to be able to address the issues, so I'll probably put them at like 10% right now, even after that result.
Not the result they wanted, obviously, and there was some question marks on West Ham coming into the year. And going away from home and getting thumped by a newly promoted side isn't going to relieve
The mighty
any...
Mackhams, not just any newly promoted side.
It's
Mighty
not
Mackhams.
going to
Mighty
relieve
Mackhams.
any of the West Ham fans'
It's a long journey up there.
trepidation, but yes, to have to come back. But I agree with Natum. I think West Ham will probably be good. We'll be fine.
It's amazing because we know that Natum bleeds City Blue, but to see him follow that Sunderland game, the
man.
flicker in your eyes, you came alive, Natum.
Listen, I was at Sunderland for one season, but it's one of the most fun years like I've ever had. That was my first time stepping away from Man City, from being a kid to a professional. I loved it up there in the northeast. The fans, the atmosphere, everything was incredible. And in that season, the goal was to finish top 10, and we finished top 10 after beating West Ham on the final day of the season. So clearly there's a bit of a history there.
Yeah.
So yeah, for them to be back up, I think that means that we get some really good northeast derbies, because that game between Newcastle and Sunderland, for me, is one of the best in English football. So it's good to see them back.
It's good to see.
Remember the old stadium, Stevie?
Aye.
Yeah.
It was always freezing with the wind.
I didn't know Scotsmen could freeze.
Oh, aye.
That's like Stoke to me.
We don't
Playing Stoke was the same.
run around the kilt. Of course we freeze.
Well, the next question is for our favorite Scotsman. Sorry, Craig. Stevie, is Richarlison's goal today a bicycle kick, a scissor kick, or a flying volley?
A flying volley.
Your categorization of these goals is always peculiar.
Yes, that's a flying volley.
The second one, flying volley, you'd think so?
Yeah. Well, he's left the ground, so he's flying, and it's
So that's
the ball's off the floor.
Is that not scissor?
No.
More scissor?
No.
So what's a scissor?
A scissor would be your legs crossing.
Did they not cross?
Well, that's what scissors do, right?
No,
Did
because
they
he
not
did
cross?
like that,
No, they
didn't
never.
he?
But he came.
He came.
No, he never. His left leg stayed on that side, and he swung his right leg.
To be fair, if you're analysing this like this, I can't even fault you.
Well,
I believe
well
in his leg.
he's gone in the air. He's using his
We're gonna
left
look
leg
at
for
it.
balance, and then he's whipped his right leg off. And because he's hitting it while it hasn't even bounced yet, that means it's a volley. So if he's flying in the air and he's volleyed it, it's called a flying volley.
Say no more. Flying.
There it is.
Pretty straightforward, if you ask me.
Simple.
All right, everyone's taking that.
Flying volley.
Flying volley. All right, there you have it. It's a flying volley. Final question now for Natum and Stevie. Can you name all the clubs that Casey played
Oh, boy.
for in his professional career? Now we're going to know
How many is
work
it?
friends.
How many?
He doesn't say, he's just asking.
How many is it?
7, 8?
So I'm gonna go
6?
Millwall, Leicester, Spurs, Gladbach.
Wow.
Nope, you missed one in between.
Do I know that one?
After Leicester, in between Spurs.
In England.
Nope.
In a sunny place.
Yeah, very
Rayo
simple.
Vallecano.
Rayo Vallecano. Yep.
There was another Spanish team there,
It's
wasn't
a team in
No.
team in the US.
Well,
there? Portland.
Portland, yeah,
Portland, yeah.
okay.
Oh, they don't
Sounders.
count.
Sounders, yeah.
Natum, did you study Casey before we got on today?
No, I've
So,
spent
but
a bit of time.
but then there was also one you missed in England. I was signed with Tottenham. I went on loan for 4 matches before I went to Gladbach.
Fulham.
Dan Thomas used to work for him.
Southampton.
Southampton. I went to
Yeah, the sneaky
Southampton for 4
Southampton, yeah.
matches.
Wow.
Then I went there. Then after Gladbach, I came back to England for one more season.
Stevie, who was it?
Wimbledon.
Nope. A lot of Americans play there.
Fulham.
Fulham. I came back
Oh,
one
of
year.
course,
Fulham.
yeah, of course.
Oh no, you never. You were going. You never
was
went
close to going,
That's
yeah.
right, I remember, because I remember you telling
Fulham.
me.
Yeah.
Teams in white.
So, and then came home to play for Seattle.
Stevie, how many could you have guessed? Nadam absolutely
Nadam
blew
got
me out
okay.
of the water.
Yeah.
Well done, brother.
Yeah. Don't leave
Leicester.
Casey hanging.
Nice.
Leicester, Millwall, Gladbach.
Bayern.
Yeah, Spurs.
Spurs, Bayern.
Yeah.
Those
Those
four.
were the main.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't.
And Seattle.
I
You
would have
got
got Seattle.
Seattle,
Yeah. I would have got 5. They're the ones that wouldn't.
Take that.
All right, there you go. That was impressive, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I am very much impressed. I hope that Anders is also very impressed with our knowledge of our co-hosts. Well, that's it for extra time. No more questions.
Where'd you come from?
Where did I come from? As in just like planet or?
Eddie, shut it down. Shut it down.
Shut it down.
Cut the feed. Cut the feed.
Shut it down. But watch us on ESPN FC. We're back tomorrow.